All right, starting recording. All right. Okay, I'll share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at.
Okay.
All right, do you see?
Yeah.
All right. So we're starting off with a mid lane, D2. What, D4 to D2, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Fluctuating a bit.
All right. So what are you looking for with today's coaching session? What's your goal?
Um, I think we had like a pretty big lead this game and then we threw, so just like closing out games and like snowballing harder, I guess.
Okay. Closing out games, snowballing harder. I'm gonna write down stuff. Just remember.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot about like transitioning your lead into a victory, essentially.
Right.
All right. And so, okay, that makes sense why you chose this game then, because you felt like you were ahead and then you guys threw.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds simple. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and give you the tools to sort of not only solve this problem, but solve like any problem
Mm-hmm.
or like future problems, not just this one. So you can kind of come to the solution by yourself, so that
Right.
you get like more out of it than just one piece of advice that I help you with, or like one concept that I help you with. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, before we really start this game, just like talking about like Akali, like how much do you play Akali? How much do you play like how do you choose runes? How do you choose starting items? Do you like want to talk about that stuff or?
Yeah, we can. So I play Akali a decent amount, not as much this season as previous seasons, but I went with Conqueror over Fleet because this lane's like pretty volatile. So I feel like Conqueror is better since I'm going to be trading a lot.
Mhm.
That's mostly it for runes. Unless you have anything.
So you so like all the so like going domination secondary for example,
Yeah, I
you
usually
always do
always go
that on Akali?
domination. Yeah.
Okay. Have you tried Ultimate Hunter? 'Cause some people go Ultimate Hunter.
I think I have before, but her ult cooldown seems like pretty short without it.
Mhm. So generally, just like quick thing before we really get into the game, um, Conqueror's not actually better in volatile lanes. Fleet's actually better because you get a lot more out of it. You get a lot more healing.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
so also I don't know if it'll look weird on the screen, but I I put in my resolution to 2560 by 1440, so everything's really big for me. So anyway, it's not really important, but yeah, I mean generally Conqueror is only like useful if you're like you're gonna have a free lane. It's like the other way around.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because
Gotcha.
you're gonna get a lot more out of Fleet because it's a lot better, lets you trade a lot more, be a lot more
Okay.
aggressive.
Yeah, that makes
Okay,
sense.
so all right, this is kind of a crazy level
Level
one,
one.
but okay, it happens. So in terms of matchup and jungle matchup and side lanes, like how much do you think about that when you're going into a game?
Um, Normally I look at all the matchups and have like a general idea of what's gonna happen. I will always tell myself to like track the jungler, and then as soon as lane starts, I'll just forget.
Right,
So
okay.
yeah.
So you feel like you have like a pretty so like you feel like you have a good understanding and like consciously think about the other lanes consistently throughout the game.
It's mostly early game. I don't, and then like lane assignments later
Right,
is
okay.
what I think about.
Okay. And what about like your matchup specifically and like the jungle matchup specifically? Or do you not
Yeah,
think about the jungle matchup at all, is what
yeah.
you're saying?
No, I think about like the 2v2, and because I'm not like fully aware of jungle matchups, and like who beat two,
Hmm.
like 1-on-1. But I'm usually able to tell like who wins 2v2.
Who do you think wins 2v2 this game?
I think if we're 6, me and Lisa win.
Hmm. And
But
what about pre-6?
we probably still win because Evelyn's kind of weak earlier
Hmm.
compared to Lisa.
And what about your 1v1?
I win early, but once he gets 2, I think his level 2 is stronger than mine. And then it's kind of 50-50. But I think I have like a slight edge.
Okay. So I think I mean, this game is really weird. You're kind of screwed out of lane
Right.
immediately. And also, he went Fleet instead of Conqueror, and you went Conqueror instead of Leech.
Hmm.
So he's gonna have like a much easier time in lane. Normally, this
Yeah.
is like one of the worst matchups for Yasuo in the game. Because it's just so hard to do anything in this lane. But if he starts off like this, then it's a lot harder. Wait, why am I
Right.
looking at other people? Um, so I think this is like a pretty good game to like be practicing like closing out, like snowballing hard, because I feel like you have like a pretty good matchup. So
Hmm.
in this game, did you ever really feel like, or like, do you think that like, were you like planning on like getting an advantage in this game, or was it just like you were hoping to get an advantage, and then when you did, that's when you started thinking about how you were gonna like execute your advantage?
Yeah, I plan to get like an advantage in lane and then do stuff with it. But the
So
level 1 kind of fucked that.
right. So like, what was your plan initially?
I mean, ideally just like zone him off the wave level 1 and
Hmm.
poke him down and then get a CS lead, if not solo kill.
Right. So I feel like your plan isn't like very detailed. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So when you say like I'm gonna zone him off the wave, that sounds good, right? You feel like you have a
Hmm.
strong level 1 and you outrange him and you're gonna be strong at level 1. So that's like an actual plan to me. But then like
Hmm.
everything else after that, it just kind
Right.
of sounded like I'm gonna do this, and you didn't give like
Hmm.
you didn't like think about like how you were gonna do it, right?
Gotcha.
So you
Yeah.
also mentioned that you thought that his level 2 is stronger. So you kind of just said, yeah, I'll zone him off level 1, and then you kind of like yada 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 like everything else, even though you you know that you at least you think that his level 2 is stronger. So yes, you might zone him off the first wave, but if you're thinking about it like fully and like following through on your thought process, you kind of like a
Hmm.
contradiction in your own mind, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So making sure that like you're not like underthinking, right?
Uh-huh.
And make sure that you like actually have like a full plan is something
Gotcha.
that's important when you're trying to like consistently snowball,
Hmm.
because this might come up later, but like if you're only like coming up with like the end goal, that's not gonna like help you with like the process to get there, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So how often do you like update like what you're trying to do and think about like what you're trying to do and like what your team's trying to do?
Uh, Not as much as I should be. So I guess not
So
very often.
so like how much?
Uh, I'll do it like once or twice in lane, and then mid game once or twice. It just like I don't know. It's hard. If we're like winning, and then all of a sudden we'll like lose a fight, then I'll be like, okay, what do we want to do? Like, what is our win condition?
So okay, this is also probably important for trying to snowball games later. I know we haven't gotten to that point, but the way that you're describing how you think about the game, it is sort of like it's telling me that for a lot of the game, you're not really thinking. You're
Hmm.
kind of just playing and like going based off instinct and feel,
Yeah.
because you're not like actively trying to like
Hmm.
find new things to do and like solve new problems and like create
Yeah.
new like things to figure out, right? So
Hmm.
you know, we can go
Yeah,
back.
something.
We can go back to like literally like here, right? This is
Right.
already a situation where you can be thinking like, okay, how am I changing the way that I'm playing out this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to zone them off level 1, but like obviously I can't do
No,
that
I
now.
can't. Yeah.
So how am I going to change that? What am I going to do? And if you're not
Mm-hmm.
constantly trying to like think about these like questions and like answer them, then it's going to be hard to be able to point to anything and be like, okay, this is where I went wrong and this is where I need to improve on. Because essentially you're just like hoping that you're going to naturally like passively become better instead
Mm-hmm.
of like consciously thinking about the things that you can improve on.
Yeah. I. That's always been like a problem. Is I autopilot a lot.
Hmm. So something to help with that is essentially it's going to be the problem that you have with it. The problem with autopiloting is that it takes too much of your brain to like think about what you want to do and also do everything else in the game,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why you can't autopilot, or that's why
Right.
most people can't autopilot. So the solution to that is that you just need to practice it and like over index on practicing that specific like part of your brain so that eventually you'll be used to doing that and also doing all
Right.
the other things that you're used to, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is why whenever somebody asks me like the best way to like get good at the game is like you can't be trying to win, because if you're trying to win, then when you do something like focus on
Yeah.
making sure that you're always thinking about a plan, you're gonna like do stuff like die to ganks that you would never die to, or like forget to ward, or like forget to base, or like forget
Mm-hmm.
to check dragon. Like there's like a million things you have to be paying attention to, but if you want to improve, you have to be like willing to let things fall through to like focus on the thing that you actually want to improve on, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think there are going to be things that you're pretty confident on, especially at your current rank, that even if you don't do like every single game, you're not going to feel like you're going to drop it. It's just so ingrained naturally into you that you're never going to forget
Right.
to do it. So
Uh-huh.
taking like the few games of not doing it and like focusing on the thing that's very important that you need to improve on and making sure and spending that extra brain power to make sure you do it properly,
Gotcha.
eventually it's gonna like kick in and make it easier to
Right.
not feel like you're just always autopiloting. Also,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back to your lane. So that's definitely something that can help with like snowballing and like closing out games.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about how to improve closing out games, is it something that's like an individual thing, or is it like something you want to like be able to help your team snowball and close out games too?
Probably mostly individual. Like what I can do to like 1v9 games.
Hmm. So I think a misconception for a lot of I think a misconception for a lot of like newer players or like older players is this concept of like 1v9ing a game.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, when someone is 1v9ing the game, it doesn't mean that they're literally doing everything by themselves. It means that
Right.
they're sort of like allowing their team to
Play for free.
help them carry essentially, right?
Gotcha.
You're allowing your team to basically ride on your coattails and not just like ignoring them. So one of the
Mm-hmm.
important things about being able to like 1v9 a game is like being able to like effectively, communicate and like help your teammates and have like a realistic outlook on like the situation, on being like, okay, exactly how much help do I need from my teammates this game so that we can still win, right? Like obviously I
Okay.
can't literally kill their whole team by myself in a team fight, so like I need
Right.
some level of help from my team, and
Mm-hmm.
like being able to identify exactly how much help you need and where that how to like allocate those resources in the game is gonna be helpful for
Okay.
trying to like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I gotcha.
For item builds, do you always go Vamp Scepter early or
Yeah.
why?
Mm, I think the lifesteal is better. I normally just go Vamp Scepter and then AP.
Hmm. I think most of the time this is probably not that good. It's not really a big point, but generally I
Okay.
think just getting Revolver is like way more laning
Better.
power. This
Okay.
might be partially because I don't know how often you go Conquer. I didn't really check, but this is one of the reasons why like Fleet's really nice is you're really not
Oh yeah,
gonna
you don't need the lifesteal from Vamp.
you don't need the lifesteal as much. You're just gonna get a lot of
Yeah.
healing from Fleet, and like the AP you get is gonna help with the Fleet healing too. So,
Hmm.
but I mean you'd have Conquer this game, so it is different. But so again, you want to be trying to like consciously think about like how you're gonna like affect the map right now, right? So being able to like identify like a win condition is something that's gonna be really important if you want to. Is gonna be something that's really important if you want to win the game. But
Hmm.
sort of before we get to that, I just want to look at this again. This is just not respecting Eve, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably didn't need to walk into him at all either.
Stop it. Yeah. It happens. But,
Yeah.
so, in terms of, like, being able to identify, like, a win condition, this game, like, what would you say, like, your team's win condition is? How do you envision your team winning this game?
Lee Sin getting ahead early and then transferring that lead on the Samira and her just carrying fights.
So you
It
think,
seems kind of weird with this comp.
so, generally, there's gonna be, like, okay, so in my opinion, there's essentially two types of team comps in League. There's split
Hmm.
push and there's team fight. And there are like subcategories between those two, but essentially like
Uh,
all comps are gonna revolve or like devolve to the one of those two things, right? You're either gonna win by split pushing or you're gonna win by fighting them.
right.
So you think you're gonna win this game by team fighting, yeah? Is what you said?
Yeah, I don't think we can match their split
Right.
unless I get ahead.
So this game you're thinking that you need to be able to win a team fight, right?
Yeah.
So you need Samira to be ahead, essentially, right?
Right.
On their team, you need to be able to. Well, what about their team?
Oh, I think they want Yasuo and Wukong to be ahead because they can split.
So you think they want to split?
Yeah. I think they can team fight as well.
I think so. This is something like you're gonna practice more, but I think that generally in solo queue, it's almost never gonna be split push is the
Okay.
win condition. Usually, you're only gonna see split push as the win condition with stuff like Fiora or like Jax or like
Camille. Okay.
hard, like even Camille can
Gotcha.
team fight. Like everything can team fight, but
Right.
like split
No, I
push
know what you
win
mean.
condition is like literally that you're gonna force Baron and the Fiora is gonna be taking your
Yeah.
base while you're doing Baron. But in this situation, most of the time, like in my opinion, like they definitely still want a team fight. I think
Hmm.
their win condition is gonna be to kill your AD carry because I think that it's pretty hard for you guys to team fight
Without
if
Samira.
without Samira, right? So this game, it's very important for not necessarily you to be super far ahead, but like your Samira to be like able to survive, right?
You're right.
So, did you think about that at all in this game?
No.
So, this is like another thing. I encourage you to like write things down if you need to,
Right. Right.
or
Right.
like I'm recording it, so it'll be up on YouTube if you want to rewatch it or something. But
Hmm.
like all these things, like these are all like factors that you need to think about when like you're trying to close out games. Closing out games does not start once you're ahead, right? It's not
Right.
okay, now I'm ahead, now I can think about how I want to end the game. There's a lot of like things you can already have thought about before you even get to that point. A
Right.
lot of League is just using your time really efficiently, and people that use their time like the most efficiently are going to be the most like effective players because they're going to have essentially just like utilized more of the available resources to them to like solve problems, right?
Right.
So making sure that you like think about not only your team comp but like enemy team comp and like what they want to do, and like it's going to be a lot of practice, right?
Yeah.
Practice is like very important, and like getting used to thinking about all these like different things is going to be
Hmm.
important, but it's going to be very helpful if you want to like get used to
Yeah.
snowballing and like closing up properly, because if you don't think about these things beforehand, once you actually get into that ahead situation, you're not going to know like exactly what it
What to
is
do?
that
Mhm.
you need to do to win the game, right? Even if you're 5-0 on Akali, if like your Samira's already really behind, then it might be hard to win the game. So
Right.
like being practical about like how you're supposed to win the game is going to be really important.
What would you do in that situation? Like if I'm 5-0 but my Samir's behind?
I mean, in that situation, like I would try to like play the team fights differently. I would just try to not like just straight up team fight 5v5 and like not rely on my Samira to carry, because like I don't think she would be able to if she's really weak.
Yeah.
So like that's when like understanding the win condition and being able to like recognize that it's not going to work,
Hmm.
and being able to like adapt, being like, okay, this win condition
Yeah.
is not going to work, so I need to do something different. So
Hmm.
maybe I just like fight anyone that I see and just hope that they're not all there and that it's not a team fight, it's just a skirmish. So instead of it being a 5v5, it's like a 3v3 or like a 2v3. Because I'm really strong, I can take like an odd number fight.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So how comfortable are you looking for roams?
Mm. With how the lane was going, I wanted to roam more because I don't think I beat him in the 1v1.
Hmm. Why don't you feel like you beat him?
I think Zeal Berserkers is stronger. I don't know. I think with the trades he was getting earlier, I just wasn't confident. But
Hmm.
looking at
Okay.
it now, I probably can't.
Do you feel like it's because you don't feel safe to trade because of Eve?
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
You have to make sure you're always thinking about the enemy jungler, because
Yeah.
this is like another reason that like having like a feel for the game isn't like super helpful for like improving. And I'll pause before I really go into the next part. But I feel like that was like really telling right there, right? I
Hmm.
was pretty sure I knew the answer to why you didn't feel like you could trade, and I was pretty sure that it was Eve. But because the way that you play the game is really like instinctual and not like autopilot-ish, when you're
Hmm.
trying to think about like, okay, how do I get better at this? You can't like actually think about what it was that you were thinking, right? You just sort of
Right.
like you like sort of problem solved and just came to, okay, my items are like not that good and he has kind of good items, but like you didn't really believe that, right?
Yeah.
You
Uh
didn't
huh.
really think that was, and
Yeah.
that's why it's like really important that you're like actually thinking and not just autopiloting, because if you go
Right.
back and watch this game, you're never going to be able to identify that it's okay. I don't feel like I can trade because of the Eve, right? But
Hmm.
I only know that in the game. I don't know that out of the game. So
Yeah.
again, really emphasizing that point of like making sure to like practice like not autopiloting, because it's very hard to improve when you can't like point to something like know
Hmm.
why you did it, right?
Right.
Killing spree.
That also will make it easier so that when you do see Eve, like you just saw Eve now, you wouldn't be like so afraid to trade, right?
Right.
And okay, maybe
Play more
Wukong,
aggro.
your Singe is spamming Wukong missing, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe not right now, but like, you know, that makes things different. And even now, like you are
Yeah.
actually trading more, you know, so like maybe you do
Uh-huh.
realize that you are safer.
Yeah, I think this game was like a week ago, so I probably forgot. But in game, maybe I knew that.
Yeah, yeah.
Worth.
Yeah, probably. So, oh, what is going on here? Wait, did this guy get canceled?
I have no idea. Looks like it.
Nice, bro. That's some good stuff.
Oof.
Alright, so the game's not going like badly, but it's not going
Yeah.
too well. It's not going good,
Mhm.
but it's not going like super bad.
Right.
So again, this is again where like you want to be like constantly updating like what you're trying
What?
to be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you like right now. We're gonna do like an exercise right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think you should be thinking about? Oh, here, I'll put on the objective timers too so you can see what they are.
Yeah, I think right now I want to look for dragon
Where the hell did that go?
because I volt up soon,
So you wanna look
and
for
I have
dragon,
gunblade. Yeah.
and you got gunblade. Okay. So you think that the team play should be like focusing around dragon right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So okay, maybe not the best time to do it because um your bot lane just died and they're probably gonna do dragon right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean this is why we practice, but also not really the best time. That's kind of my bad. But I mean it's good that you're thinking about this stuff. So we'll just like keep doing some more stuff in the game. You're also thinking about you want to do dragon, but it's kind of hard because they're gonna be first.
Or like
Because your
I
bot
wanted
lane,
to fight here, I think, but no one came.
yeah. Looks like there is gonna be a fight.
Yeah, I think we're still winning.
Nice.
Sick. We take this.
All right, so you just won a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon just died.
More kills.
What's the new plan?
Bot lane tower is pretty low, and then we can get Samira out of that lane
Okay.
and elsewhere. I think that's probably ideal. Because she
Right.
should win 2v2 now.
Okay.
The gold she just got.
So I like the that's like the overall plan. What are the steps? What how are you gonna do that? What's the plan? Show me like in depth, like what do you think you should do
I
starting from like
can.
right now, leading into getting this bot tower? And what do you think your teammates should do?
I think Samira should reset, obviously, and then walk bot. I can wait to push this wave until she gets closer, and then I could shove the wave. Ideally, Lee Sin would walk bot side jungle too, and then we could both walk down and either get vision in their jungle or just walk in lane and force them out and take tower.
Okay. So I like that. So what I noticed was A, you didn't want to reset. You don't think you should reset?
Oh yeah, shit. I should probably reset too.
Okay.
So then
So how would that change it?
we'd both reset, and then we both walk to our lanes. I think Lee Sin still goes bot, or he comes mid with me so we can get prio, and then we walk bot together.
All right, that's good. I like that. So I think, yeah, I think that's a totally fine play. I think that's good reasoning. I like that you're calling your jungler to go with you mid to then go to bot lane. Why is that better than having your jungler go bot lane? Or is it better?
Mm,
What is the advantages and disadvantages of Lee Sin going mid to bot versus Lee Sin going bot and then you just coming from mid?
I could die to Eve if she's bot side, if I'm walking down solo. But I think if Lee Sin just goes straight bot, they could probably get tower on their own without me. But I don't know if I get prio. I don't think I get prio versus Yasuo alone.
Okay. So which one do you think is better?
Probably Lee Sin coming mid. I think it's more safe.
Okay. And so okay, you think it's more safe?
Yeah. Like
Can you like
it's
elaborate?
guaranteed. Like if he comes mid, we're guaranteed prio, and then we just walk together. Because I think we're able to fight the 2v2. And if they even contest. And then the 4v2 bot is really free. Other than like
4v3, but yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And that's better. And then why is that worse? So like that's like what you think would happen if Lee Sin goes mid.
Mm-hmm.
What are
If
you
Lee Sin
worried about happening if Lee Sin goes bot lane?
if Lee
That
Sin goes
dissuades you
bot
from doing that.
lane, I think there's a chance for them to lose the 3v3.
All right, that makes sense. There's no right answers. There's no wrong answers. I mean, theoretically, there's like a best way
Right.
of playing, but again, it's just like practicing like this concept of thinking about what you want to do. Your
Mm-hmm.
bot lane ends up killing them and getting the tower
Oh, bad.
solo.
Nice.
So all that we thought about completely
Yeah.
useless, but that's why you need to practice and do it fast because
Uh-huh.
this stuff's gonna happen all the time. You're gonna be like, okay, this is my whole plan, and then like literally 5 seconds later, bot lane's gonna die,
It's
and
gonna
then like
change.
it's
Yeah.
gonna change, and now you need to think of a new plan. So okay,
Right.
new plan. Bot lane got a 2v2 kill. Tower's dead. What's the new plan? What are you doing?
I think we send bot top lane.
Okay.
So I think they can both like singed and then bot lane recall at the same time, like right now, and then just swap. I think Lee comes mid again, we shove, and then me and Lee walk to top, take tower.
Okay. So
Team double kill.
I think what you said makes sense if it was like the end of a play that just happened, right? But this is like the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of essentially like your guys' time on the map.
Right.
So like singed basing and going bot lane would be like so bad for him because like these guys pushing this next wave too.
Yeah, so he'll lose a lot.
So like he literally just came out of base
Yeah. Okay.
and now he's going bot lane with nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So again, this is not like there's no right or wrong answer. You just have to think
Right.
about like the different situations,
What's
right?
best? Mm-hmm.
So,
So I think bot should just come mid then.
well, before like I'm trying to like lead into like what I think you should think about because like different
Okay.
situations require like different things you need to think about. So,
Mm-hmm.
in this situation, this is sort of unique in that your bot lane sort of just randomly got a kill,
Okay.
right? Look at
Yeah.
how long your bot lane's been in lane before they killed them.
They just got back.
The Samir is literally running back to lane.
Yeah.
and you know they're here for like literally like 10 seconds before they double kill them, right? So one way of thinking about this is, okay, there's 5 people on both teams, right?
Mhm.
Theoretically, I do not want to do anything um where numbers are even, because effectively I shouldn't really have an advantage, right? Now I know that's
Right.
not always true, but like for the sake of example, like if you can avoid having an even numbers fight, you should
Mhm.
do that. You'd prefer to have an like an odd numbers fight in your favor, so you
Right.
have more
Right.
people, right?
Yeah.
So your plan was, I want Lee Sin to go mid, and then we're gonna go bot lane, and we're gonna have an odd numbers fight, right? Which is a good
Mhm.
plan, and I thought that was a good idea. Your bot lane just killed their 2 members, so their bot lane's dead. So now it's a 5v3 on the map. So
Okay.
what I would be thinking about, right, is one, okay, TPs, but like we'll not worry about that right now. TP advantage is always something you have to think about, but
Yeah.
for the sake of like simplicity, I'm just gonna say that your bot lane just killed their enemy bot lane, so like they're essentially just 2v0, and they don't need any help. They're gonna be fine.
Right.
They don't need to do anything. As long as you guys are doing whatever you like, as long as you guys do nothing, it's gonna be fine. But
Mhm.
if you want to snowball hard and close out games well and like do like more than you have to, right? This would be an example of where you can sort of extend your lead, right? This is sort of
Mhm.
like a unique situation where, okay, I know your Lee Sin's over here, but like the plan
Mhm.
of Lee Sin going mid and doing something is still probably a good idea. But instead of going bot lane, you can just go top lane now because there's no reason to go bot lane because they're dead, right?
Mhm. So we just
So
leave bot lane alone.
well, your
And
bot lane is going to have their own plan, right? Theoretically, they should be
right.
thinking about what they want to do. Like, you can't tell your bot lane what to do, but
Right.
they should have their own plan, and this should signal to you that, like, you can look to do something, like, somewhere else, right? You
Mhm.
want to be, like, individually affecting the map. This is a situation where you don't want to just let your bot lane carry because you're sort of relying on them to, right? If you want to, like,
Right.
affect and, like, carry and snowball the game, that means you need to change your plan of a like plan based on, okay, I can just do more. This is essentially like a winning more scenario, right? My bot lane's ahead and they're already winning, so I can change my plan and it doesn't really hinder us at all, right? That should be like
Right.
the
But
most
it can
important thing
help
in this
us.
situation. But it can also help
Mhm.
us, right? We push, I roam up top lane and maybe Wukong like misses a wave. Or maybe you walk into Eve and she dies instantly. Or
Gotcha.
maybe Yasuo and Eve try to 2v2 you guys and you think you win 2v2 and that's the whole point, right? So
Mhm.
that uh making sure that you're not like super tunneled on like playing like purely as a team and making sure you're opening yourself up to the potential of these like win more plays, right? Because they're gonna happen all the
Right.
time in solo queue, right?
Yeah.
You know, it would be disingenuous of me to like say that it would never happen, you know? So
Uh-huh.
you have to be like capable of looking and finding these opportunities. Wow, that guy lived.
Yeah. I know. Okay, that makes sense.
And see, now your bot lane has their own plan. Now they're coming mid.
Right.
And now you're fighting mid lane when they're coming mid. Like, this is smart. Good idea. Oh my god, it's literally Faker. Oh, never mind, it's not Faker. Doesn't have
LP.
ulti for some reason. Ooh, rip.
Oof. Unlucky.
Bit of a rip. So, do you have like an understanding of like when like turns and like timings in terms of like how plays work and like when one team gets a play and like when another team gets a play?
Yeah. Like your turn on the map.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
So like you understand what I mean when I say like this is like the start, like you guys are like getting set up. This is like the
Mhm.
beginning of like what you guys are about to do. That makes sense to you, right?
Yeah.
So okay, this is the beginning of what your plan is going to be, right? This is
Mhm.
where you've had the most time to think about. You've been dead for a while. You should always be thinking about stuff when you're dead.
When dead. Yeah.
What is your guys' goal, plan, and like how are you gonna do that, right? Like give me the details.
Um, let's see. I think
I have the
right now.
objectives over here in case you're wondering what they are.
Okay. Okay. So Drag's up in a minute and a half, and Rift is up. So I think it's good to send bot lane mid to get mid prio, and then we don't have any TPs. So I guess I'll go bot. Actually, I don't know if I should go bot or singed. But ideally, we probably play towards dragon. So get prio mid and then walk into their jungle for vision. And then see what happens.
Okay. I think that's totally fine. That's a reasonable way. Again, it's not about what the most correct play is. It's always about coming up with a plan and making sure that you have a reason for it. So if something necessarily goes wrong, then you learn from it, right?
Right.
So, okay, Wukong died for some reason. Herald's up, but also both of you don't have TP, so in the end, it doesn't really matter who goes bot lane. It's probably just whoever wants to be fighting would go top side, but
Okay.
you know, you're faster on the map, so you went bot lane. I think that's fine. It
Gotcha.
just means you're probably going to be a part of less of the action.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had a TP, then whoever had TP should go bot lane. Because I think
Yeah,
Herald's
for
up.
playing for
and
Rift.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you also mentioned that you want to play for Dragon, so, you know, if you don't care about
Yeah.
Rift, like, you know, that's fair. But again, I do think that this mid tower is like, I think the definitely like the most important thing on the map.
Yeah.
So it looks like your team's doing a good job so far.
Mm-hmm. We're in a pretty good spot.
Things are looking good. Samir's really strong. So like the win condition that we were talking about before the game is like going well.
Yeah.
Dragon's coming up in 20. You guys are fighting for that. This is a good fight. Ashe is not here, so good time to
Yeah.
fight.
I think she was rage splitting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll move on. We'll go a little faster. You guys get dragon, then you base at some point. Then Samir bases. Okay. Back, same situation.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the start of the play again. What is the plan? What do you think the plan should be?
I think we should look for bot tower, but then again, Baron is spawning, so it's good to have vision topside.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we send Samir and Rakan mid again with Lee and shove mid, I can go bot, shove bot, and then we get vision in their blue side jungle, and then ideally get tower off rotations.
Okay, I like that. Makes sense. So one thing I'm going to talk about is right now you're sort of in the situation where you're like so ahead that like you don't really have a good play to look for.
Yeah,
And
it's awkward.
you did identify what I believe to be the correct objective, or at least one of them, which is the tier 2s. But it's not super easy to get them
Mm-hmm.
because it's pretty early on to the game and you don't really have a good. I don't think Samir's good at taking towers. I really don't know, but I don't think she is
I
against
don't
how
think
much
so.
engaged there is on the enemy team. So, something important to note is that Baron only really matters when the enemy team can actually take it, and they probably
Gotcha.
could, but it would take kind of a long time. So
Yeah.
I think it's fine to play bot side, but generally you're only like
Okay.
worried about Baron when like there's actually a threat on Baron. And like vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. You would only like care about being topside to do Baron if like you can actually kill it quickly.
Gotcha.
So like I don't know how fast Samir does Baron, but like if you had like a Philios, like then like being top side's like pretty nice because you actually can one shot Baron.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I knew Evelyn was gonna be there, but I was confident in Samira to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Should probably just go Baron.
You guys think you should Baron instead of going like pushing mid?
Probably. Yeah. Because it seems kind of early to take in his.
Maybe you could have. I don't know how much damage Samir does, but this also seems fine. So I mean that play was just like you guys walked me to decide to fight. This is kind of like where like NA gets like bad reputation is because people do stuff like this. Like this is just like you said that you knew that E was there, which is fine. But if you're thinking about like a consistent way to end the game, this is not the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
This is just you guys deciding that you win 2v3, which is not wrong because you guys end up winning.
But it's still
And
like it's like their best shot to get back into the game.
well, essentially, you're just relying on your fingers, right? You're just like
Right.
hoping that you have better fingers, and
Uh-huh.
it's not like consistently the way to win, right?
Yeah.
If you really wanted to like not lose this in a dumb way, then like you wouldn't do something like this. Again, you don't want to be taking these fights where when there's even numbers if you can avoid it. You only want to take advantage. You want to take advantageous numbered fights. So this
Right.
kind of fight is like, you know,
Yeah.
yes, you can argue that it's good because you guys should win the fight, but you can also argue that it's bad
Risky.
because it's kind of unnecessary and like,
Right.
you know, if you do mess up, it's like really, really bad, and if it works, it's like not even that good. Like,
Right.
you guys got inhib tier 3, and like you were saying that you could do Baron, but like, I don't think your intention was to do Baron after killing them all mid, right? So it's kind of like, it would be, you know, coincidence that would work. It's eventually just playing for kills.
Right.
So, that's like why it can sometimes feel, or like why it can sometimes not be that good. Before we go into the rest of the game, just talk to me about your build. You rushed Zanya's second. Thoughts?
Yeah, I went Zanya's for Evelyn mostly.
Zanya's for Evelyn.
Yeah, I just saw like get Zanya's her R, but or if I like ult in deep, I can buy time with Zanya's.
Do you think it's good, this build?
Yeah, I think the fights end pretty quickly, so Leandri's wouldn't be as effective. Yeah, I think it's not bad. I don't know what else. I mean, I could go Death Cat, but
So, I think that, in my opinion, it's hard to do like stuff by yourself when you go this build. But again, I don't necessarily think it's bad. I just think it's hard to do solo stuff.
okay.
So, if you want to be like a pivotal member of like carrying your team, like this would not be like the build to do it, because like
Right.
you're really reliant on your Samira, and the fights could end quickly, but they could also not end quickly. And even if Leandri's isn't necessary for it to end quickly for it to be like a good item.
Okay. Yeah.
Just think about like this fight over here where you E the Yasuo and then you like waited, and you would have gotten like virtually full Leandri stacks doing that.
Sure. This was super unlucky. That might least
Ow.
missed us might.
Yeah, that's kind of the monster end right there.
Those.
I mean, yeah, okay, so Samira kind of inted by herself, not really something that you did,
Yeah.
but we'll see how the rest plays out. So, okay, we'll speed up a bit. Now you guys aren't like super ahead. You're like still ahead, but like they have Baron, so you're still on the like on the back foot for a bit probably.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, right? A bad thing happened in the game that went against what you wanted to do. It's always good to take stock of the situation. I mean, it's good to do this regardless, but
Hmm.
it's always good to like think about, okay, I thought about how the game I was thinking should be played out before the game. Is that any different now? Do I have something I should be paying attention to more now than I was thinking at the beginning? Essentially just looking at the game state and changing your opinion and like changing your priority on certain people or champions or
Hmm.
uh play styles, anything like that. So in this situation, do you feel like there's anything that needs to be significantly changed about your guys' win condition or their win condition or just your thoughts?
I think we keep trying to keep Samira alive, but Evelyn's kind of a threat.
Mhm.
So I would probably focus her in fights.
Mhm.
But I think generally the win con stays the same.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you think about it, then it's fine. Oh wow.
I hate to see it.
Yeah, you do really hate to see it. You're really bleeding a lot of CS because you constantly group.
Yeah, I need to sideline more. But it seemed hard this game because I don't win any sides.
It's because your build. That's why.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, it's because you're like prioritizing like fighting rather than like farming and then fighting. Ideally, you want to go like farm and then fight with numbers. But you're going like, this is like a good example, right? Where you
Hmm.
see Yasuo mid, there's
Yeah.
no way that Ashe is going to catch this wave. Like, why wouldn't you just push this wave, you know? You can't
Sure.
just like letting this die, and Samira can get this wave. But now
Hmm.
like these creeps are dying and it's slow pushing away. So like, just like ignore what's
Yeah.
happening in the game. Like, look at this bot wave,
Yeah, it's a lot of wasted gold.
you know? And it's 25 minutes now, so like, it's not going to be like stacking the way it like normally would, but I think now it's going to be stacking and being bad, right? Because now it's a cannon wave every wave.
Yeah.
So like, that's like a ton of gold. I don't even know where we were, but you know, that's just like practice with like wave manipulation. It probably
Mhm.
wouldn't be a lot better, but like you'd get like 6 extra creeps, you know?
Right.
And like a ton of stuff happened like between then and now, so like sometimes that happens, but so what do you think about this situation? I want to hear your thoughts. So you guys walk in. I'm just gonna say what happens. You guys
Hmm.
walk in to try and contest dragon. Samira gets engaged on and dies instantly, and the fight's over instantly. Right? Agree?
You're right. Yeah.
So what do you think should be changed? Right? This obviously is not what should happen. Right?
Hmm.
Or not what you guys were envisioning when this happening. So this is not like what your plan should be. So something needs to change. So what is it? There are many things you could change. What are some of the things that you feel or like something that you noticed that would be changed that would have significantly affected this outcome?
Just not contesting it.
Right, that's one.
I don't know if Singe was walking in first or not, or Samira just needs to play farther back,
Hmm.
or like up. But we don't like, have like any vision.
So Singe could be doing a better job at like frontlining what you're saying, yeah? What's another thing?
Mm,
I want you to think about something that you mentioned that you wanted to do, that you're not doing this fight,
I could dive on the Evelyn.
right? But
I
like,
could
how are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say?
So flank.
I mean, is flanking what you want to do if you want to go on Evelyn?
I don't know. I don't even know how I even flank with no vision. So probably not.
Right? So what
I
is
feel like
it? So if your plan is to protect Samira, right?
yeah.
What? And you've identified that you want to stop Evelyn from getting on her, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you can be doing to help Samira?
Just shrouding and then ulting on the Evelyn. I don't know.
So essentially, it's the same thing that Singe is doing. Because Singe wants to do the same thing, right?
Right.
Singe does not want Evelyn to get on Samira. Same with Wukong. Same with Yasuo. Essentially, they're all the same, right? You singled out Eve, but essentially they're all the same. If any of them get on Samira, she's gonna die instantly, probably, because of Swain and Nashiro and all that stuff that's gonna kill her
Right.
instantly. So if you've identified that as your win condition in the team fight, then you need to play with that as your team fight win condition in mind. So look at your positioning. You
Yeah,
guys have Samira over here,
it should
right?
go on.
And you're over here. You can't control what anybody else is doing. You can't control what
Uh-huh.
Samira's doing. Well, I mean, you can kind of control what Samira's doing by like spam pinging her if you think she's trolling, but like this indicates to me that like you're potentially worried about them being behind you, but like
I think I wanted to just like walk mid and go for it.
right, okay. That's something also happening, but again, like your teammates are deciding to do this, so like you have to follow the call, right?
Right. Right.
But I mean, if that's what you're thinking, then like you're just like super out of position for this fight, right?
Yeah.
And while it may not have mattered because, you know, again, Samir just walks up by herself, dies instantly. You're
Mhm.
not like putting yourself in the situation to like help your Samir as
To
much as you
help.
can.
Right.
The
I need
way
to be
like
closer.
this, like if you covered the champion, I would think you're playing like Zareth.
Gotcha.
Like you're
Yeah.
literally playing in Africa.
Yeah.
Like you were saying that you wanted to protect Samira. How are you going to protect Samira when you're literally a
Right.
screen
All
away
over
from
there.
her and you're a melee
Yeah.
champ? No?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. You're.
thinking about like playing the team fights, like updating like how you want to play and making sure you actually follow through with that, right? Your playing this team fight did not indicate that you wanted to protect Samira at all. It's that it looked like to me that you were like looking for your own time and that you wanted to carry. You want everybody else to fight and then you'll come in and carry at the end, right? Which
Mhm.
in a different game might be the way to play, but
But not.
wasn't what you said that you wanted to do in this game. So that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so your whole team's dead. Let's go back. Okay, so now, at what point did you feel like you guys weren't really ahead anymore? Was it when they got Baron?
I think right now. Like
Okay.
when they won that team fight.
Just when they won that team fight? Right, okay, that makes sense. So, when you guys went, so like, what in this game, when you felt that you were no longer ahead, how did that change the way that you played? Or did it change the way you played at all?
felt pretty useless, so I didn't really know like how to play the rest of the game out.
Mhm.
Like I feel like I can't fight, or we don't win fights anymore. Like it's super easy for them to just blow up Samir.
Mhm. So, what are you gonna do about that?
You probably have to get picks before the fights start
Mhm.
with Singed or Rakan.
Did you think about that in the game?
I don't think so. I was probably tilted.
Right. And it happens, right? It's okay to be
Yeah.
tilted, but you have to try to like give yourself like a few seconds of being okay to be tilted, and then you gotta get back to thinking about the game, right? Because there's so many things you need to be thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the game is kind of not in a good spot anymore, especially after that. You guys are now definitely significantly behind, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that the game's just doomed, right? You can still win this
Right.
game. Samira is still strong. You are kind of useless, but you know, you have to find ways to be useful, right? You have to figure
Mm-hmm.
out like what you can do to be useful. What do you feel? Do you so? What do you think you can do, or do you not think you can do anything?
I could probably kill Ash or maybe kill Evelyn in fights, but I don't do damage to Yasuo, Wukong, or Swain.
Hmm. So, do you feel like you need to change the way that you're playing the team fights?
Yeah, I just have to dive in because I can't really protect Samira. The
Hmm.
only way I protect her is like by killing them.
Right. That's something good to think about. Because I agree. I also don't think that at this point you can really do anything to protect Samira.
Mm-hmm.
So, just killing Ash, you know, you probably kill Ash for free. Especially once you
Right.
get the Henrys. So that might be the most useful thing you can do. Or killing Eve somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Holy crap, dude. Swain.
Swain is figured.
He even has Death Stance. Is that balanced?
I don't think so. Nerf.
So, I mean, this would have been really insane until Samir died to Swain. You guys
Yeah.
probably would have gotten Baron. Because Eve was bot lane. But it looks like you guys are getting chased down. You're all gonna die. Holy shit. This fucking...
Singed.
This Singe is kind of smurfing.
Yeah, he tried his best.
Alright, bit of a fiesta going on. The TPN. Alright.
Big.
So, I mean, in this situation, it's not really... Oh, yeah, you guys just died instantly again.
Goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is not really like playing from ahead. This is just sort of like playing out the situation like macro-wise. And
Yeah.
you're kind of useless. And definitely there's things you can do, but it's going to be like specific to this game. It's not going to be that like super useful to talk about in my opinion. It's more about like Samir needs to stop inting. You probably just need to like try to find Ash or something, or like try and like tell your team what to do. If I was you in this situation, I would just be trying to find out like what do I think my team should do, and like how can I trick them into doing it.
Gotcha.
Blue team's inhibitor is respawning soon.
But just as like an exercise, we can just watch the rest of this and see how it goes.
Hmm.
Alright, well, this guy just dies. You guys lose Baron instantly, so that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Alright, so, okay. Again, let's talk about these team fights. There's only one team fight left in the game, so let's just skip to it. So before I talk about this team fight, I want to talk about something that is kind of like hard to train yourself to do,
Hmm.
and that is practicality and sort of like being able to observe what has happened and change your mind or your plans based on what has happened before,
I
right?
see. Yeah.
So the reason that it's very hard is because, you know, you basically just have to admit sometimes that you're wrong, which is not very easy sometimes.
Hmm.
Or you have to come to like a hard to come to conclusion. Um, what do you think has been the biggest problem this game that has sort of impeded your guys' success chance? Like, you guys were in a good spot. What do you think is like the most notable thing that
Them
has made
getting
it like
Baron.
hard to win? Like that stopped
Them,
you guys from winning?
them getting the Baron was like a big turning point
Hmm. But why did that happen?
because Samira and someone else got caught.
Right? How did they get caught?
I think by they were like had pushed mid and then they were walking away.
Hmm.
But I think that they were pushing mid. I think that was after we had killed them, or like we took that unnecessary fight.
Right, okay.
I don't remember.
So, okay, that was one situation, but that wasn't the only situation that turned this game, right?
The dragon fight
Right? Why did that go so poorly?
because I was in Africa and Samira got blown up.
Right? That also wasn't the only thing. There's like a bit. You can see the stream can't see, but you guys can see this, right? Or you can see
Yeah.
it. Sorry, the kills.
Yeah.
There's like a billion kills.
Hmm.
So what, like, you know, all of these made it hard to win, right? You're only
Right.
down 6K at 31 minutes, which is like bad, but it's not like horrible. You
Right.
know, this is definitely like possible to come back from in a fight, especially when you're looking at the Samira items. So like
Hmm.
multiple things must have gone wrong. What do you think is like the most like reoccurring theme that you've noticed?
Just random deaths or random fighting.
Hmm. So I think you're like on the right track. So I'll just like help you through it. So
Uh,
for me, what I've noticed this game is this Samira has a lot of deaths,
right.
and Samira is sort of like the most important member on your whole team.
Hmm.
Um, you guys can't really win a team fight unless she kind of does a lot of damage. And
Right.
I've noticed that in pretty much every situation that you guys have lost a fight,
She dies first.
not only is she dying first, she's also it's always pretty much the exact same way that she's dying.
Yeah.
So
Wukong Yasuo.
I'll go to this fight. Oh wait, she doesn't die this fight.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Blue team double kill.
It's this one over here. Wukong into Yasuo
Wukong
ulti and she dies
Yasuo.
instantly.
Yeah, and then the one at Dragon, Wukong and the Yasuo ulti.
Ash arrow. Okay. Slightly different. Wukong into Yasuo ulti. We saw this already.
Yeah.
How did this one go badly? Yasuo gets onto the Samira.
Yeah. Okay.
This one, okay, Swain one-shots him. Samir doesn't die here. Here? What is it again? It's Wukong and Yasuo again.
Yeah.
In all these big team fights, basically the same thing as killing the Samira.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially the Yasuo getting the ult onto her, or like a combo of Wukong and Yasuo getting onto her in
Yeah.
every single fight, right?
Right.
And okay, yes, there are fights where she gets Astroed or like dies to Swain solo, but like those are like she's just trolling, you know, or out of her
Right.
control. But like in most of like the actual fights, were like, you know, were like actually like important. It's pretty much as always, Samira just has Yasuo somehow get onto her, and then she dies instantly. So,
How do I prevent that?
so it's not like you can control his champ, but this is something where it might be you, it might be somebody else on your team. You need to identify like what it is, or like what you think that like the most important thing is that's like been losing you these fights, right? And to me, from watching, and it's easier because I'm watching from like outside the game, but like to me, it's just like Samira keeps dying instantly because Yasuo keeps getting an ult on her, or it gets onto her for free, right? And
Right.
she's never ever been hitting for free in a fight ever. From what I've noticed, she's always getting threatened by something, which makes
Yeah.
it really hard for you guys to win. So I would probably like, you know, if I can protect her, I would, but I would also like try to like convince my team to like help her more, right? Because like
Right.
she really needs to survive and she keeps dying instantly. You know, like
Yeah.
it's so important, and like using your chat is like is like something you can do to help the team.
Okay, I see.
So I would at least like mention it, like especially now because she's died 100 times in a row. I might have mentioned it before this as well, but you know,
Yeah.
talking about like I hadn't watched this fight, right? I did before I watched this fight. Talking about how you guys win the fight may have changed the way you guys play this fight. Do you agree?
Yeah.
What do you think would have potentially been different if you guys talked about like what do you guys want to do in this fight?
Samira would have gotten more help.
I mean, how? Like, what would have changed?
Like,
I
I
can play
think
the fight for you again if you want.
Rakan probably doesn't engage. and
Yeah,
just stays
I think
local here.
that's the really big thing. I think if you guys talk about it and like make it very clear that like Samira has to be able to fight, the Rakan, like this is a really good pick from Lee Sin, but
Right.
like
But then
what the
that's
hell is
fine.
this? You
Yeah.
know? Like okay, your Singe is literally solo killing this guy. If nothing happened right now, it's 5v3. Like why are you guys fighting? You know?
Oh yeah.
What
I didn't realize
what's the
people almost
situation?
had
It's literally 5v3. You know?
Yeah.
And probably, you know, I didn't even notice that the Eve was getting solo killed by Singe,
Yeah.
right?
Either.
But like, when do we see the Eve getting, you know, like this one pick is like enough, you know?
Right.
It's enough. You don't need to kill everybody on their team.
Yeah.
You guys already won the fight. You don't need to kill everybody. And overextending goes against your fight win condition. But okay, you know, it's kind of hard this game because you're not really the one that's strong. It's like you're trying to help somebody else be strong, but it's still
Right.
like good to think about. And
No,
then,
it makes sense.
okay, you guys get 3v5'd. It happens.
Their champs are just too broken.
Yeah, okay, and then you guys lose. So, going back, stepping away, what are the big things that you're taking out of this game? What do you think is like the most important thing, or few things that you really are going to try to change for the next few games that you play?
Thinking like about plans throughout the entire game
Hmm.
a lot more. Adapting to like what your plan is and like changing. Thinking about the win con, and if that goes poorly, what can you do? How to like play fights, identify what's losing us the fights.
Hmm.
So mostly just like a lot more thinking.
Right, I think that's like definitely what I would agree. I think you nailed it. Like just consciously thinking about how to effectively change uh not change, how to effectively play out the game, right? And making sure that you have something to point to when you're trying to like improve in the game, right? Because if you go back and you don't have anything you can concretely say, it's going to be hard to come away from that game feeling like you've actually learned something. But
Right.
when you play out a game thinking the whole time like, okay, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do
Mm-hmm.
this for this reason, then when something goes wrong, you can
Yeah,
identify
it's
like,
easier
okay,
to find
why
out.
did why did I not think about this being a reason, or like why didn't it work the way I wanted it to? So
Right.
I think you did a great job, and I think that's pretty much all that I really wanted to talk about. I think that was like a pretty good
Yeah,
like
it
hour
was
and
good.
15.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
I'm glad you did. Um, yeah, I think we're done. I don't know. Uh, yeah, I think we're good. So thank you so much. I hope this was helpful.
Yeah, it was really helpful. So thank you.
All right, no problem, man. Have a nice night, bro. Good luck
Yeah,
in
you too.
improving.
Thank you.
No problem.
Peace.
Peace. All right.